In the case of good books, the point is not to see how many of them you can get through, but rather how many can get through to you. The person who says he knows what he thinks but cannot express it usually does not know what he thinks. The great authors were great readers, and one way to understand them is to read the books they read. There are genuine mysteries in the world that mark the limits of human knowing and thinking. Wisdom is fortified, not destroyed, by understanding its limitations. Ignorance does not make a fool as surely as self-deception. A lecture has been well described as the process whereby the notes of the teacher become the notes of the student without passing through the mind of either. If your friend wishes to read your Plutarch's Lives, Shakespeare, or the Federalist Papers, tell him gently but firmly to buy a copy. You will lend him your car or your coat, but your books are as much a part of you as your head or your heart. Imaginative literature primarily pleases rather than teaches. It is much easier to be pleased than taught, but much harder to know why one is pleased. Beauty is harder to analyze than truth. The purpose of learning is growth, and our minds, unlike our bodies, can continue growing as we continue to live. If you never ask yourself any questions about the meaning of a passage, you cannot expect the book to give you any insight you don't already possess. There have always been literate ignoramuses who have read too widely and not well. The Greeks had a name for such a mixture of learning and folly which might be applied to the bookish but poorly read of all ages. They are all sophomores. In the case of good books, the point is not to see how many of them you can get through, but rather how many can get through to you. The failure in reading, the omnipresent verbalism, of those who have not been trained in the arts of grammar and logic shows how lack of such discipline results in slavery to words rather than mastery of them. Good books are over your head, they would not be good for you if they were not. And books that are over your head weary you unless you can reach up to them and pull yourself up their level. Always keep in mind that an article of faith is not something that the faithful assume. Faith, for those who have it, is the most certain form of knowledge, not a tentative opinion. Even when you have been somewhat enlightened by what you have read, you are called upon to continue the Sirach for significance. You must tackle books that are beyond you, or, as we have said, books that are over your head. Only books of that sort will make you stretch your mind. And unless you stretch, you will not learn.